Welcome to Writing Westward. My name is West, and this week I'll be ranking MCU movies from phases 4 and 5 by how likely I'd be to bring them home for Thanksgiving to my family, as if they were a romantic partner, I guess. Before we get started, I may end up spoiling a bunch of MCU movies if you haven't seen them yet, so if you care about that sort of thing, go watch them first. Now, let's break down how I'm going to do this. I'll be taking all the MCU movies in phases 4 and 5 and ranking each individual film as if it's a romantic partner that I either would or would not want my family to meet and or interact with. Also, I used a random list on IMDb for which movies were a part of phases 4 and 5, so if I missed any, oops, sorry. Now that this very obvious and normal explanation is out of the way, let's dive in. Starting off strong, we got Shang-Chi and the Legend of Ten Rings. Shang-Chi is definitely a movie I'd take home for Thanksgiving. It's got heart, it's a reliable partner, isn't too weird, crazy, or impulsive, and is just a solid pick that my parents would absolutely love and everyone else would at least like. The only thing holding this movie back from S tier for me is its aesthetics. The CGI in the second half gets to be a bit much for me, but that doesn't necessarily ruin the movie's chances with me or my family. Most straight boyfriends, myself included, will tell you that lack of fashion or style is not necessarily a deal breaker. And to me, this movie feels like that. A straight, charming, safe partner to bring back to the family, which is why it's landed itself in A tier. Moving on to Eternals. Eternals for me would be like the I can fix her partner that I bring home. My parents and family at least know of her through her mixed reputation, but I see the potential buried beneath all the contrived plot hooks and well-documented criticisms. If I brought Eternals home, it would be to try and get my family to see them through the same rose-tinted glasses that I see them through, and ignore the faults, like I would in a partner like this. So, because I'm basically saying that Eternals has some redeeming qualities, but I'd have to be a bit delusional to just focus on them and not the flaws, Eternals lands itself in the D for delusional tier. That brings me to Spider-Man No Way Home. I definitely wouldn't be embarrassed to bring Spider-Man No Way Home to Thanksgiving. It's got heart, is awkward in a charming way, and everyone from my grandparents to my little cousins could find something to like. Though, its performative tendencies keep it in B tier for me. The awkward breaks for applause left in the movie would get old at the family function, and would start to feel like some grand reaction to whatever this movie said would be expected. This partner would be the type of Thanksgiving guest that would constantly expect attention from everyone at all times, regardless of how entertaining this partner is or isn't, depending on, the story or whatever they're doing at the function. And I think that would get tiring for everyone eventually. But still, I think the positives outweigh the negatives, so B tier for Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, onto Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. To be honest, I probably wouldn't want to bring this movie home as my partner. To me, it gives off the vibe of being entertainingly weird for one night, but then immediately becoming annoying after a certain level of exposure. Like, yes, the what mouth scene is cool the first time you see it, but after first watch, you start to wish the movie offered a little bit more. I get the sense that would be the same way it plays out with this movie as a romantic partner at the Thanksgiving table as well. Still, not the worst movie / romantic partner to bring home on this list, so it gets a solid C tier. Next on the list is Thor: Love and Thunder. Man, I would not want to bring this movie home to my family as a romantic partner. It would be like bringing home a partner that has the sense of humor of an 11-year-old, somehow immature and slightly offensive at the same time. If I had brought home Thor Ragnarok the year before and then brought Love and Thunder the year after, my family would be gossiping about how Thor: Love and Thunder had become a crackhead tweaker. F tier, enough said. That brings me to Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Wakanda Forever is a partner who's not really going to crack jokes at the function, but they honestly don't need to. They got an entirely different vibe going on. This movie, as a romantic partner, would dress smart with a classy sweater vest and talk about more artsy and intellectual topics, while somehow managing to not sound overly pretentious. This movie is also incredibly respectful to everyone at the table, especially since it was a well-done tribute to Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace. So yeah, this is my first S tier. Next on my list is The Marvels. Ironically, my friends made me go see this when I was home for Thanksgiving break a few years ago. There was one specific scene I remember where they went to a planet where all the characters had to sing and dance, and he told me that I would either love or hate it. That's how I feel about this movie as a romantic partner. It would be charming to some of your family, but unbearable to others. But hey, if you like this movie enough to bring it home for Thanksgiving as your date, you would probably be having a great time with it, despite what your sexist uncle or whoever else says. D tier. Moving on to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This movie is weird in all the wrong ways. It would probably ask your grandma how many holes she had and then try to play it off like it was a bit, which, to be fair, it probably was a bit, but still. Yikes. Yeah, this one's going in F tier for me. Moving on to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. While Quantumania is weird in all the wrong ways, this movie is weird in all the right ways. Not everyone at the Thanksgiving dinner table would like it, but most would, and some would even love it. For some, this would even be the highlight of Thanksgiving, and they would secretly hope you bring them back next year and don't break up. The main thing keeping it out of S tier for me is its trauma. If you get it drunk enough or just ask the wrong questions, it might make your family cry with its sad Rocket backstory and bring down the whole vibe. With that being said, I would totally take that chance and bring it to my Thanksgiving. With just some conversation steering, you can probably avoid that problem anyway. Easy A tier. And now it's Deadpool and Wolverine's turn. Bringing Deadpool and Wolverine home would be like a better version of bringing Thor: Love and Thunder home. It still has some immature humor that would probably be offensive to certain family members, but it's at least self-aware enough to win over some other family members. Most people under 40 would probably like this movie at the dinner table in small bursts, so I think it could still work, which is why I'm putting it in C tier. And now, onto Captain America: Brave New World. To be honest, I don't know who I'd rather take home to my family less. Captain America: Brave New World, or Thor: Love and Thunder. Brave New World would keep trying to allude to politics without actually saying anything of substance, but would still insist it's the smartest and most informed on geopolitics at the table, despite adamantly avoiding taking an actual stance on anything. Not to mention, whenever they try to tell a story, everyone can predict how it's going to end halfway through, and then still have to sit through the rest of the story regardless. Yes, this is in reference to how the Red Hulk twist was literally in all the trailers for the movie. Anyway, straight to F tier. And now for the penultimate movie on this list, Thunderbolts asterisk. Thunderbolts was honestly the hardest to place on this list. And I totally spent so much time and effort on deciding where things go, but Thunderbolts is charming and feels real in a down-to-earth way. Not to mention, they'd be funny in a casual, not too over-the-top way that I think would be perfect for a family Thanksgiving. I mentioned they would feel real, but my only concern is that they would keep it a bit too real and start talking about their crippling depression. Which, yeah, I think it's definitely good to talk about your feelings and struggles, but not around some of my boomer family members who don't believe in depression or therapy. So this could lead to a conflict I'd rather avoid, for both my partner's sake and other family members' sake. For that reason, and that reason alone, I'm putting Thunderbolts in B tier. And finally, we're moving on to Fantastic Four: First Steps. Also, I realized that this is technically a Phase 6 movie apparently, which I didn't know at first, but blame the IMDb list. Anyways, unlike Thunderbolts asterisk, this is the easiest movie to place in this entire list. Hell yes, I'd take Fantastic Four: First Steps home with me to Thanksgiving. They have a fun, retro futuristic style, and they exude family values. The movie even makes it a point to say everyone is family with the Fantastic Four at one point. This is peak Thanksgiving energy, and the easiest S tier of my life. Well, this has been my objectively based, true, and valid tier list about which Phase 4 and 5 MC movies I would bring home to my family for Thanksgiving if they were romantic partners, which is a totally normal thing to do for a tier list. Anyway, if you feel like I slandered your favorite movie or overhyped anything, as much as you can overhype a movie as a romantic partner, feel free to let me know in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video. Anyway, I'm a YouTuber, you know what I want, do the things if you feel like it. I'll see you next time.